what up guys, we're on PC Battlestations, and I'm building a Black Panther setup in memory of Chadwick Boseman. I just finished the custom wall for this setup, and I think it looks amazing. So, want to see how I did it? Let's do this. So in the movie you can see the design in many places, so I thought it would look cool making a black wall with that design, and it floats about 2 inches from the wall with purple LEDs behind it to glow. So I grabbed a pencil and paper and started drawing out a rough sketch of how it was all going to work. I first grabbed the dimensions of the whole wall and then marked the locations of the studs that I want to screw into, and the 2 power outlets and light switch so it didn't cover up that wall. I know I needed multiple 4x8 sheets of plywood, and the 8-foot length was too long to bring home in my SUV, so I decided to divide the whole wall into 4 sections. I also wanted to make it modular so I can add and remove it with ease, because after this setup I'm also going to build a custom wall for the Cyberpunk setup. So if I wanted to tear it down, I can tear it down pretty easy, and then I can also put it back up for other setups, after that's done too. First I cut the 4 sections to size. Then I laid the 4 sections down and drew the border. After that, I found where the 2 outlets and the light switch were, and I drew it out so when drawing the design, I would go around these as to not to obstruct them. Oh, and my daughter thought it was funny by sneakily put a sticker on my back, which I knew it was happening, but immediately forgot about it and made it in the video. So I have a sticker on my back. Then I drew out the design. Using a jigsaw, I cut out the sections. When you have a section to cut out in the middle, use a drill bit bigger than the size of the jigsaw blade so you can just drop the jigsaw blade in and start cutting. After everything is cut out, I sanded everything down so it didn't have the rough edges. Time to spray paint each section black. Now first I applied a gray primer since it was raw wood and it would provide a tight bond with the spray paint. Once that was dry, I applied 1 coat of the semi-gloss black spray paint. Now on to the 2-inch spacers. So I grabbed a couple of feet of the 1-inch PVC pipe to cut out and paint. I marked off every 2 inches to quickly cut with my miter saw. Once those are cut to size, I sanded them down with a 220 grit sandpaper to rough it up so the spray paint would adhere to it better. Then wipe off the dust before painting. I first spray painted them with the gray primer I had. Then I spray painted them white. At first I thought I would paint them black, but then I thought white would look better because if you're looking at the wall from an angle, the white spacer would blend into the white wall better. After everything was dry, time to add the LEDs in the back. Now I wanted to add the LEDs before mounting them on the wall because it would be easier. So I started where the power supply would be in the wall and worked my way out from there. And planning on running the Govey, they had the one package that had 2 16 by 4 foot LED strips on 2 in the top, in the bottom section. Before you mount the LEDs, wipe down the surface so the double-sided tape sticks better. And like I said before, I wanted it to be modular so I can easily add and remove each section. So I wanted to be able to connect and disconnect the LEDs from one section to another. I had some LED strip or some light strip connectors for a 3-way and also a 90-degree angle. So the LED strips would connect and disconnect from the bottom section to the top section along the border. The 3-way light strip connectors required a little planning as you had to align the RGB and the 12-volt power. Once the LEDs are installed on the back of the 4 wall sections, time to mount them. Now I marked the location of the studs in the wall that I wanted to screw into so I could put up the wall section and mark where I wanted to screw into the wall section and into the stud. I drilled a countersink hole for each screw so the screw head would sit flush with the wood. Just use a drill bit that's the size of the screw head and drill into the hole a little bit, just the length of the screw head so it sits flush. I mounted the first section in the lower left corner along the wall, and then mounted the bottom right one, next to the one so it sits flush with that left section. I screwed in the screws just a little bit in all the holes, and then I could start by mounting kind of like one with a spacer, like in a top middle, so it just kind of hung there. And then I just worked on the rest by putting the spacer behind the wall and then screwing in the screw into the stud, through that PVC spacer. After everything is mounted, I wiped down the pencil markings on the wall that located the studs. Then I spray painted the screw heads black to blend in. Boom, done. I think it turned out great, and I think it'll be a great wall for this setup. It looks awesome. Stay tuned for the custom desk that I got coming up next. It's gonna be awesome, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you guys in the next one.